When most people think of Lexus, they picture quiet luxury sedans, smooth rides, and incredible reliability. For years, that's exactly what the brand focused on. Cars like the Lexus LS built Lexus's reputation for comfort and quality, but they weren't exactly known for excitement. However, in the early 2000s, engineers at Lexus decided they wanted to prove something. They wanted to build a car that could compete with the best performance machines in the world, cars from brands like Ferrari and Porsche. That idea eventually became the Lexus LFA. Development began around the year 2000, and what followed was one of the most ambitious engineering projects the company had ever attempted. The LFA wasn't meant to simply be fast. Lexus wanted it to be something truly special, a car that could showcase the absolute peak of their engineering abilities. The problem was that building a world-class supercar from scratch is incredibly difficult, and the LFA would end up taking nearly a decade to develop before it was finally ready. One of the biggest challenges during development was the car's construction. Early versions of the LFA were built using aluminum, which was common for high-performance cars at the time. But as engineers pushed the car further, they realized aluminium simply wasn't good enough for what they wanted to achieve. So halfway through development, they made a huge decision. They scrapped the aluminum design and rebuilt the entire chassis using carbon fiber reinforced plastic. This wasn't a simple change. Carbon fiber is expensive and extremely complicated to manufacture. Instead of outsourcing the process, like many companies do, Lexus actually built its own carbon fiber weaving machines to produce the material themselves. In the final car, about 65% of the structure was made from carbon fiber, making the LFA incredibly strong while still keeping the weight low. For a brand that had never built a supercar before, this level of engineering was almost unheard of. It showed just how serious Lexus was about making the LFA something truly extraordinary. But the most famous part of the LFA isn't the carbon fiber body or the complicated engineering, it's the engine. The LFA is powered by a naturally aspirated 4.8-litre V10 that produces 552 horsepower and revs all the way to 9,000 revolutions per minute. To create this engine, Lexus partnered with Yamaha, a company known for both high-performance engines and musical instruments. Together, they designed an engine that many enthusiasts consider one of the greatest ever built. The V10 is incredibly responsive and can rev from idle to redline in just 0.6 seconds. In fact, the engine revs so quickly that a traditional analog tachometer couldn't keep up, which forced Lexus to install a digital one instead. But the real magic of the engine is the sound. The LFA's V10 produces a high-pitched, almost Formula 1-like noise that is completely different from most supercars. Even today, many car enthusiasts believe the LFA has one of the best engine sounds of any road car ever made. Despite all this incredible engineering, the LFA didn't immediately become a huge success when it launched in 2010. One of the biggest reasons was the price. At around $375,000, the car cost as much as some of the most famous supercars in the world, including the Ferrari 458 Italia. Many buyers simply couldn't understand why a Lexus would cost that much money. At the time, Lexus was still known mostly for luxury sedans rather than exotic performance cars. Because of that, the LFA was often misunderstood. But Lexus never planned to build the car in large numbers anyway. Only 500 units were produced, making it extremely rare. Over time, enthusiasts began to realize just how special the LFA really was. Today, it's widely considered one of the greatest modern supercars ever built, and some versions like the Lexus LFA Nürburgring package have become incredibly valuable. The Lexus LFA proved that sometimes the best cars aren't the ones that sell the most, they're the ones that push engineering to a completely different level. And more than a decade later, the LFA still stands as one of the most unique and unforgettable cars ever created.